As humans, many of us have something that is bothering us, holding us back, or eating us alive. Sometimes we don't even know that we are affected by these things until it is too late. Many people call these particular things demons, and within this video, the demons of the Yonko will be exposed. But first, cue the intro.
It's your boy Young Usa back at it again. Yeah. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this with a couple friends.
Yeah, it's your boy Young Usa.
Yo, what is up, guys?
It's
your boy
Young Usa.
And I'm back again for another
video.
Listen, y'all. I'm pretty sure you all know what a Yonko is and who they are. But in case there are individuals that just started watching One Piece and don't know what a Yonko is, and who the current and former Yonko are, I'll start with this. A Yonko is an emperor and one of the most powerful pirates sailing the seas, but they have to have a crew powerful enough to back them up. A Yonko marks their territory with their own pirate flags, in order to keep that territory safe and ward off pirates and marines. After the defeat of 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚅𝚑𝚝, there have always been 4 Yonko, it seems, and these Yonko rule the seas. Ironically enough, those former Yonko were a part of Rox's crew. Before Wano and Marineford, the former Yonko of the seas were Whitebeard, Kaido, Shanks, and also Big Mom. But we have new Yonko within the story, whom include Shanks, Blackbeard, Luffy, and Buggy. Before we talk about the current Yonko, we will begin talking about the former Yonko. We will start off by talking about the man, the myth, the legend, the man known as the strongest man in the world, Whitebeard. The demon that had consumed Whitebeard was the hurt of not having a family growing up. The one thing that he desired most was a family. He was an orphan, and without a family, he surrounded his crew with individuals that were younger than him so he can feel loved and also valued, giving these individuals the love and care that he wished he had received. One might say that Whitebeard and Ace suffered from the same demon, which is why these two individuals both sacrificed their life for a person that they loved more than themselves. Ace for Luffy and Whitebeard for Ace. The second individual is the man known as the strongest creature in the world, Kaido. We do not know if he's dead, but we do know he was defeated that night on Onigashima's rooftop. The demons that Kaido suffers from are depression and alcoholism. As we have seen from Kaido's flashback, as a child, he was always treated as a monster and had been turned into the government due to being so strong and uncontrollable. We don't see a smile from Kaido very often, but as he is fighting a strong opponent, he begins to. His depression seems to stem from being too powerful. The one time we've seen him having a huge smile was when he fought against Oden 20 years before the current timeline. Someone whom was able to wound him and inflict a scar that hurts as he thinks about Oden. Our first encounter with this depressive state was in chapter 795, where we saw Kaido walking past Rouge and jumping off of a sky island. But this doesn't kill him. It barely even hurts him, in fact. We have to begin to wonder how many times he has actually done this. This depression and the lack of finding someone that could kill him began to manifest and fuel his alcoholism. The consumption of alcohol easing the pain of longing to fight someone that could defeat him once and for all, giving him the excitement he longs for. His joy coming from feeling pain and exchanging blows with someone of his caliber and his level. His use of alcohol also being used to change his fighting style, as we saw when he was fighting Luffy, which seemed to enhance his techniques and fighting moves, making him a better fighter, like Rock Lee using the Drunken Fist in a way. The third individual that was a former Yonko is Big Mom. Her demon being her eating disorder. Since Big Mom was a child, she had a love for food, and if she did not eat, she would go on a huge rampage. In chapter 867, it is depicted that she had eaten Mother Carmel and the children of the orphanage she belonged to on Elbaf, which made her feared and caused her to be cast away from going to the island ever again, severing their relationship. On Whole Cake Island, we see that if Big Mom does not have food, she begins to have her hunger pains. She cannot control herself and will destroy or kill anything or anyone that stands in her way. We saw her take her own child's life due to him being afraid of her when she used her attack life or treat. I cannot pinpoint how this eating disorder might have happened, but I believe that once we reach Elbaf, we'll have an understanding as to how exactly this begun, because I truly believe Big Mom is still alive and that she'll follow the Straw Hats to Elbaf, redeeming herself and making a relationship with the Giants as she once had. But going to the island as Olin, not Lin, just as she did when she arrived on the shores of Wano. I believe Big Mom's demons might have left her after being with Otama, Chopper, Momo, and Okiku. With them, she realized that individuals on the island had starved for years and barely had food. When she received a bowl of red bean soup from Kinemon's wife in Okabor Town, she didn't ask for large quantities of food, but she only needed one small bowl to fulfill her huge hunger. And when she felt hunger, she voiced herself and waited until they got to an area where she could have that food that she desired. When she was back to her regular self, she retained the information she received and remembered what she went through as she was in Lin mode. So I believe that this is the same with her hunger pains. As we know, when Big Mom hits her head, she has amnesia and doesn't remember anything about herself. So I believe that when we get to Elbaf, she will not have any recognition as to who she is due to the fight with Kid and Law. And she will show up at Elbaf remembering that she lived there as a child, but she will wonder why none of her giant friends like her anymore. Fight for their respect and fight for their friendship. Hopefully we'll see Big Mom with them again. Now, on to the current Yonko of this generation. Starting with the senior member of the Yonko, and that being the red-haired man named as Shanks. We have not seen Shanks much and haven't had many encounters with Shanks, but I want to make a good guess being that he suffers from holding the world together. By holding the world together, I mean by him not letting the world fall into chaos until the time is right. Just as Zunisha was sentenced to walk the world until the second coming of Joy Boy, and for his or her new master to be born, in order for Momo, since that's his new master, to control him or her. I believe that once Shanks received that straw hat, he received his role and was told by his former captain that he'll have to be the gatekeeper. As we know, Shanks has communication with the leaders of the world government, the Gorosei, which has sparked theories of Shanks being a celestial dragon due to him being found on God Valley. But I don't believe this is true. I believe that Shanks could be an individual that is strong enough not to be destroyed by the world government, and he is an individual that could leak the true history to the world with no issue. So he uses this as a means to have a checkmate position on the world government, which is why he seems to be respected and why he is able to meet with these individuals. But he is also surrounded by individuals that are high caliber fighters, all members being feared around the seas, who have made names for themselves, making them the most fearsome crew amongst the Yonko. I believe that Roger gave him the task because he already knew the location of the One Piece, and because the last poneglyph on Laugh-Tale stated that the individual known as Joy Boy will be reincarnated in the near future in the weakest sea of them all, the East Blue. We now know that Shanks sought out for the Hito no Mi Madonika fruit to give to the individual he believes will be the next Joy Boy. I am sure Roger gave him the criteria for him to look for, leaving him to be on an endless mission, an objective until the time comes for him to open the gates of Laugh-Tale. Just as the Straw Hat got passed down to each generation, I believe this is why when we see Shanks in Wano in chapter 1054, he says that it's time to go get the One Piece. Now that he saw that Wano had been liberated by Monkey D Luffy, our next Yonko we'll talk about is Blackbeard, whom I believe suffers from insomnia and dissociative identity disorder. For those that don't know what either of these two are, insomnia is a common sleep disorder that can make it hard to fall asleep, hard to stay asleep, or cause you to wake up too early and not be able to get back to sleep. Dissociative identity disorder is a mental health condition. People with this condition have 2 or more separate personalities. It is said that the disorder is usually a reaction to trauma as a way to help a person avoid bad memories. Each personality may have a unique name, personal history, and characteristics, which I believe is the case for the menace known as Blackbeard. As we know, Blackbeard as a child was seen by Buggy not sleeping throughout the whole night during the 3-day-long duel between the Roger and Whitebeard pirates, which is why I personally believe he has insomnia. In a photo, we see Blackbeard as a child sitting down and awake while the moon is out, and as we know, Blackbeard is from a winter island, which could have assisted in the development of this insomnia. The first time we've learned of the multiple personalities of Blackbeard was when we saw him on Jaya in chapter 223. The first personality being the one we saw in the bar, when Luffy and him ordered the pie and drink. Luffy enjoying the drink as he enjoyed the pie. Them having very similar personalities in that aspect. The second personality being seen in chapter 225, after Bellamy attacked Luffy and Zoro, as they did not hit back. There was a drastic change in character, personality, and speech being used. This personality being more grown and mature than the first one that we have seen, which was acknowledged by Zoro and Luffy, with the 2 of them acknowledging the multiple personalities by saying not him, but them, referring to Blackbeard. I believe the third personality comes out as he attacks Whitebeard in Marineford and shows fear when Whitebeard begins to attack him back, not showing recklessness or maturity when faced with death. The change in personality seems to be symbolized by the amount of teeth shown in Blackbeard's mouth that individuals have realized throughout the years with the theories that they have created. We do not know what trauma Blackbeard has gone through, but we do know that before he joined Whitebeard's crew as a child, he was orphaned and homeless. Hopefully, we find out what he had been through as a child, since all of these individuals seem to have had some sort of trauma as a child that shaped them into the person they are today. Our third current Yonko will be the strongest man in all of history, and that man being Buggy the Clown. It is hard to pinpoint what Buggy's demon might be, just as it was for Shanks, but I believe Buggy might suffer from being the shadow of the more worthy apprentice. I say this because it truly seems like Buggy does not want to associate himself with his past one bit. This is said because instead of Buggy saying that he was on the crew of the Pirate King, he went out of his way to go to the East Blue and make his own pirate crew, never speaking of himself being a part of the Pirate King's crew. He also declined Shanks' invite to make a crew together and dominate the seas. I found it quite odd that Shanks and Buggy didn't keep in contact at all after the Pirate King's crew disbanded themselves. When they both see each other, Shanks messes with Buggy as they used to when they were children, and Buggy holds grudges towards Shanks and they show camaraderie. This was shown during the Marineford arc, which was also the same time that Buggy accepted his past and associated himself with it after many years of being on the ocean. One could say that Buggy conquered his demon and accepted it, with his demon not being as self-harming or triggering as the other individuals, but his demon stalling his own growth as a leader and pirate in this world, where you have to make a name for yourself. And being a part of the Pirate King's crew gives a pirate's name more weight than it would have without it. Our last individual of the Yonko is our main protagonist, Monkey D Luffy. The demon that Luffy is battling is his own destiny. His destiny is a demon, in my opinion, because he is destined to be great. It has been prophesied to free this world from the shackles that are placed on it by the world government and oppressive leaders. This is a demon in my opinion because Luffy is plagued with constant pain in his life, from fighting individuals facing death each and every time, just to level up in power and to get a higher bounty, to losing the people closest to him, scarring his heart and his soul. Luffy's first experience that we know of was the loss of Sabo as a child. finding out that he died sailing off in the sea. Of course, this being before Sabo regains his memories and meets with Luffy in Dressrosa. But Luffy learned that one of his brothers got killed and there was nothing that he could do about it. The second time being the loss of his eldest brother, Ace, leaving a scar in his heart and a scar on his chest from Ace saving his life so he can follow his dream. It seems like each island Luffy lands on, someone is looking for help, and since he is a warrior of liberation, he is destined to help these individuals, which always leads to an encounter with a villain that is stronger than him, which causes him to face death time and time again. With the last fight against Kaido pushing him close to death 3 times. One of those times his heart stopping completely and coming back to life whilst awakening his devil fruit at the same exact time. But this awakening only occurring because he died. As we know, Luffy does not want to be a hero. He's a pirate for goodness sakes, and just wants his friends to be able to live free and have all the meat that they can eat. So maybe Luffy himself knows that this is a demon within himself that he can't avoid any longer. With that last statement, this is the end of the video. Each Yonko battling their own demons might seem like a ridiculous thing to talk about, but I believe these traits affecting each individual gives us an insight into each character and why they act in the way that they do, and also why they carry themselves in a way that they do. If you made it this far into the video, I thank you and I appreciate you for watching this video and taking the time out of your day to check out my channel. If you all enjoyed the video, please leave a like. If you didn't enjoy it, leave a dislike. Comment what you thought of the video and also what kind of content you would like next to see. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit that noti bell. And last but not least, don't forget to share this with your friends and family. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, night, or evening. Remember, sky's the limit, and you create your own destiny. It's your boy Young Usopp, and I'm gone.